Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.
Thank you so much, Hetty, for being such an amazing advocate for social housing, for Vancouver Centre, and indeed for families right across the country. What a pleasure to be here as well with Talib and Wilson, two great members of our BC team. But also want to recognize the architects, the hard-working construction workers and engineers who are building this extraordinary project already. Because we need this. Canadians need support in so many different ways around affordability, which is why we're stepping up. But specifically when it comes to housing, particularly in cities like Vancouver, we need solutions. And that's why we're leaving no stone unturned to solve for this housing challenges that people are facing, whether they're renters or first-time home buyers, young people or seniors. We need to be investing in housing across the country. And that's exactly what our government is doing. We've put forward a range of different programs that are making a real difference. Prenons par exemple le compte d'épargne libre d'impôt. The first-time home buyers savings account that actually is helping over 1 million people already save up for the down payment. C'est déjà 1 million de personnes qui sont en train d'épargner pour pouvoir acheter une première propriété. C'est énorme comme impact et ça c'est juste une des initiatives qu'on a mis sur pied. The Canadian Housing Infrastructure Fund, which we just announced yesterday, is opening up to municipalities. We'll do things like investing in wastewater projects, expanding water treatment plants, building the kinds of infrastructures that unlocks housing for municipalities so we can build more homes, create more density, and provide solutions for more people affordably right across the country, but particularly in cities where it's so needed. We've also moved forward, as Hetty mentioned, with the Housing Accelerator Fund. This is over $4 billion investments that is signed, deals with 175 different communities across the country to make sure we're increasing densification, we're building homes faster, we're reducing red tape. It's all about unlocking 750,000 homes over the coming years across the country, and it's making a huge difference. Bien sûr, au Québec, on a investi 900 millions de dollars en partenariat avec un 900 millions du gouvernement du Québec pour débloquer du logement au Québec. C'est des investissements qu'on est en train de faire ensemble. Everybody knows if we're going to solve this housing crisis, we need to invest in building the supply, the homes, and unlocking the possibilities in communities, large and small, right across the country. But not everyone gets that. Pierre Poilievre likes to go around saying the country is broken and then demonstrates that he's the one proposing to break it. He's announced that he's going to cut the Housing Accelerator funding, billions of dollars to municipalities, that is unlocking density, accelerating the building of homes, reducing red tape. He voted against the first-time homebuyers savings account. He voted against the Housing Infrastructure Fund. He's demonstrated that he doesn't want to see investments that are going to actually unlock housing across the country because all he cares about is cuts. You don't have to take my word for it. We're seeing mayors and leaders from different orders of government across the country speaking out against the billions of dollars in cuts that is the Conservative Party's solution to solving a housing crisis. It doesn't make any sense. Le maire Charlie Clark de Saskatoon a souligné que ça allait enlever 1600 nouveaux logements à Saskatoon. Ça va ralentir la construction de logements à travers le pays. Le ministre des Finances du Québec, Éric Girard, a souligné que les coupures de Poilievre seraient coûteux et inefficaces. The Housing Accelerator is talking about building 750,000 homes for Canadians with these investments across the country, working in partnership with municipalities. And Poilievre wants to cancel that. That means 40,000 fewer permits in the coming years here in Vancouver, over 130,000 fewer permits across BC, because Pierre Poilievre wants to cut instead of investing. You can talk to anyone. We need those investments. We need to see people moving forward. But again, if you don't believe me, and if you don't believe mayors from all different parties across the country, maybe you'll believe the 18 Conservative MPs who've said clearly that they think those cuts are a bad idea. 18 of them asked for us to invest the Housing Accelerator funds in their communities so they can unlock more housing, including 2 BC Conservative MPs, Dan Albas and Frank Caputo. But Pierre Poilievre's not interested in investing to solve the housing crisis, in investing to solve red tape. He wants to pick fights with municipalities, pick fights with communities, pick fights with Canadians, pick fights with provinces, cut programs, remove investments that are getting things built. This project we're in right now is a story of community organizations and communities coming together to solve the concrete challenges we're facing. We're talking about hundreds of affordable units here that have been unlocked partially because, as a federal government, we stepped up with real money on the table to create solutions for Canadians. Cuts to programs, cuts to services, cuts to investments doesn't help a single Canadian get into an affordable home. Pierre Poilievre should know, when he was Stephen Harper's failed so-called housing minister in the last government, he built an entire 6 affordable units in his entire time across the country. The Conservative approach is not to invest in housing, not to invest in people. And what people need is the support of a government that's going to be there for them to help build the solutions Canadians so richly deserve. That's what we're going to keep doing, rolling up our sleeves, being there for Canadians and solving the challenges families are facing now and long into the future. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now go over to questions from reporters.
Hey there, John Hernandez from CBC. Just asking on the ongoing port strike. Jagmeet Singh was at a rally with workers today. One of his messages was for Ottawa not to step in with any return to work legislation, saying it would undermine the efforts of workers that are currently on strike. What are your thoughts on that, and is Ottawa considering any return to work legislation?
Well, first of all, my preoccupation is for the thousands upon thousands of good union jobs, of farming communities, of small businesses, of exporters across the country who are depending on our ports to get goods to market across the country. We know that slowdowns in our ports don't just harm Canadian small businesses, workers, and exporters. They actually drive our international partners to look for different solutions if we can't contribute to getting the goods and resources that they need to markets around the world. This is why we are taking this situation so seriously, why our Minister of Labour has engaged directly with both parties and is continuing to. But ultimately, as we have always said, the best deals end up at the bargaining table. We are expecting and encouraging all the parties to work together at the bargaining table and to remember that in their disagreements, they are hurting Canadians, workers, farmers, union members right across the country for every minute they don't develop a solution.
And just a follow-up from my colleague here, what message do you draw from the U.S. becoming the latest advanced economy to vote out its incumbent government, and what lessons do your government take from Democrats running on a progressive message but losing ground with nearly every voter cohort in the U.S., with people more focused on the economy and cost of living?
Canadians are absolutely focused on the cost of living, which is why we are stepping up with dental care for seniors. Over 1 million people have already accessed, and more ages coming on soon. Why we're stepping up to provide free insulin and free prescription contraceptives to Canadians across the country whose weekly budgets are squeezed. Why we're moving forward with a school food program that'll save hundreds of dollars for families on groceries and make sure the kids have full bellies when they're in schools. Why we're stepping up with $10 a day childcare and creating more spaces to save families thousands of dollars at a time when costs are so high. Why we're investing in more affordable homes to bring down the costs of rent, to make sure that young families can afford their homes. These are the things that Canadians need at a time when we're squeezed, and all those things I just listed, Pierre Poilievre stands against. He did everything he could to block dental care. He stands against pharmacare, against child care, against the school food program, against investments in housing that is the first thing he'd cut, he just announced, against the investments in drawing in good jobs from around the world, investments from around the world to create good jobs here. Canadians need a positive plan that'll put money in their pockets and grow the future. That's exactly what we are fighting for every single day.
Next question.
Hi, Thomas Hill from Bloomberg. Just another one on the US election. What kind of impact do you anticipate on investment in Canada if the US begins aggressively cutting taxes, corporate taxes, like it's indicated it will? Is there a risk of investment moving south of the border?
Canada has always focused on being competitive in terms of an investment climate versus the United States. That's why one of the things we've done over the past years is bring in new programs to draw in investment, and it has worked. Since 2015, foreign direct investment has increased by 60% in Canada. Last year, we were the third largest destination in the world for foreign direct investment, which makes us #1 per capita in the G20 for foreign investment. So the world is taking notice of what Canada's putting on the table. It's why we're leading in electric vehicle battery manufacturing, why we're drawing in so many innovative companies from around the world interested in, yes, our resources, whether it's critical minerals or rare earth elements or energy, or whether they're interested in our AI and quantum computing. Countries and companies around the world are trying to catch up with what Canada's doing because we've been investing in it. So I look forward to seeing a more competitive North America. I look forward to working with Donald Trump, as we did years ago, to make sure that when the Canadian middle class succeeds, the American middle class succeeds, we all succeed on both sides of the border. Okay. On a toujours eu le défi au Canada d'être compétitif face aux Américains, et depuis 9 ans, on a démontré notre capacité de réussir justement à le faire. Depuis 2015, on a augmenté de 60% l'investissement étranger au Canada. L'année passée, on était le 3e dans le monde en termes d'investissement étranger direct au Canada, et donc le premier par capita au G20, parmi les économies les plus avancées du monde. Le monde est intéressé avec ce que le Canada est en train de faire, en train d'investissement, oui, dans des véhicules électriques, dans la filière batterie, dans les minéraux critiques, les technologies vertes, les énergies renouvelables, mais aussi dans notre recherche et la recherche quantique et l'intelligence artificielle. Le monde est très intéressé par ce que le Canada est en train de faire, et comme on a su le faire il y a 4 ans avec Donald Trump la première fois, on va pouvoir continuer de faire des choses ensemble, le Canada et les États-Unis, et créer des bons emplois tout en protégeant nos travailleurs, que ce soit en acier, en aluminium, en ressources naturelles ou dans nos manufacturiers.
Following up.
Thank you. On a similar theme, what have you learned about responding to a protectionist US policy, looking at the US lumber tariffs today, and they appear to currently be benefiting the US industry at the expense of the Canadian?
Well, we've demonstrated that unfair competition around the world is something that we're willing to stand up for. We brought in 100% tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. We brought in 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum to protect our steel and aluminum workers from Chinese overcapacity. These are things that we are doing to protect our market, protect Canadian jobs, but also do it in alignment with the United States. There's an awful lot Canada and the US are going to be able to do together to successfully compete with the world. And as we demonstrated last time in the renegotiation of NAFTA, the interconnectedness between the supply chains in Canada and the United States, the reliableness of Canada as a partner to so many and so much of the American economy, means that tariffs or thickening of the border between Canada and the US will inevitably hurt American workers, American jobs as well. So we're going to work together, as we have before, to make sure we're competitive with the United States facing towards the world. And I look forward to all these conversations we're going to have about growing the North American economy in ways that work for everyone.
Hi, Canadian Press. So, question on a similar line. You made the clear decision to publicly resurrect the Canada-US Cabinet Committee, but it wasn't used during the Biden presidency. I guess I'm wondering why you decided to do that now.
We know that President Trump has made very, very clear his emphasis on supporting American jobs and moving forward in ways that are going to benefit people in his country. And we know that there's a way to make sure that is done in partnership with Canada that's going to benefit people on both sides of the border. We had challenges with the Biden administration on a number of issues, like electric vehicles, where we had to work extremely hard to make sure that we were included in the benefits around electric vehicles for the IRA. So we've had very deliberate and concerted approaches on the U.S. as necessary. Right now, standing up once again the Canada-US Committee is a sign that we're ready to tackle some of the new challenges that no doubt the new American administration will put on the table for countries around the world that Canada will be ready to handle.
Is there a specific message, though, that you're hoping to send to the Americans?
That we're ready to work with them right now in constructive ways to make sure that people on both sides of our border are succeeding.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.